Hey everyone, it's Matt, aka Tech Ranger, and today we're going to be taking a look at something that I didn't think we would be taking a look at, but it might be helpful in building your own load order when taking a look at me and how I build mine. Now, it's not necessarily the best way to build a load order. Any of us here on the channel who have downloaded mods, played with mods, installed mods, whatever it is, you know that there are issues that come with that, and depending on game saves, what's been installed, reinstalled, your game might function differently depending on what new mods you install and how your load order is set up. This is just how I'm building my load order, and this is what's worked for me in the past as far as structure goes. So me going through the motions might help you, or it might not, or it might just give you some ideas. So let's take a look at how I build my load order for Skyrim on the Xbox. To start the load order off, we start at the top. So patches, weather, gameplay, animations is generally what I would put towards the top of my load order. First and foremost, the unofficial Skyrim Special Edition patch. Now, I know some people don't really use this mod, but I tend to use it just because it can fix a lot of little bugs and things, and it's also required by some of the mods in my loader. So then I start to download the load screen replacer because I really like this one in particular, and then I will go ahead and start downloading like the world map mods, and then I'll start with things like the HUD. So I have like an Oblivion HUD mod that I'm actually using right now, and then we'll start getting into like the gameplay patches. So first and foremost, like I have the rich merchants of Skyrim, which gives all the merchants a lot of money. And then we get to like our magic overhaul and our perk overhaul. So for our magic overhaul, we've got mysticism, and then we're going to follow that up with adamant. And this is actually helpful when you're downloading and installing these. One will actually not install without the other, so you're going to want to have mysticism first, then adamant. And then after that, I have things like Ars Metallica, which is a smithing overhaul. If you accidentally install the patch first, don't worry about it. You're still going to download the actual patch, but you do have to go back and download the required mod, which is the main Ars Metallica mod. As you can see here, I just moved that above the patch and then re-enabled the patch, and you're good to go. I like a mod with some ultimate kill moves, that way I have the kill moves pop up a lot more often in my game, so I always add one of those in there. And this is usually where I put my weather and lighting mods. In this case, I have surreal lighting, so that's your lighting, and then I have natural clouds, which is going to give me those really nice skies. Now, knowing we're probably going to rearrange some things, this is where I tend to put my animations. So I'll do like that 360 walk and run standalone mod that I have, and then we'll add the Leviathan animations right below that, and then we'll get to things like sorting mods. So I have like the alternate smithing categories that we took a look at in a previous video, which I will link above, and after that is where I kind of get into a lot of my armor and weapon categories. And if you followed me for a while, you'll know in past load orders for Skyrim, I like to use these character overhaul packs. They're really cool. They actually change a lot of characters in the game and how they look. And this section should be pretty self-explanatory. I'm just installing mods that just deal with characters and adding armor and things. You're just going to want to install what you want to use. In this case, I'm using things like Old Kingdom, so I like to have the original Sleeving Skyrim. You're going to want to put that above all your Old Kingdom stuff, and there's actually a couple of the Old Kingdom mods actually show you kind of where to put stuff in your load order. And then everything else is an add-on to me. So we have the improved close face helmets, visual animated enchantments. I consider this an add-on, so we're just going to put that right below it. And then we get to things like the Enid mods, and these are texture mods, but they do modify specific items, so I usually will keep these in this section. And I did find an all-in-one version when I actually searched for the mod. So sometimes I like to search for the mod because you might find like an all-in-one version that you may have not have known was there the whole time. I like these mods a lot, so finding that was a pretty good catch. Now on to our next section, which has a lot of the heavy hitters. Now this probably has like the most megabytes out of the whole load order, and this is how we're going to start filling up some gigabytes in our load order. So first and foremost, I'll start this section with anything world lighting. So if you guys use stuff like Fi Light, Fi Dark, and then I'll go ahead and add my static mesh improvement mod, which I chose Divine Smim this time around. And if you guys noticed, I did use the ELFX that was updated to work with Smim. There is a version, like a standalone version, so if you're not using Smim, that's a good way to give you some purple lamps. So moving on, we use a staple in my load order, which is the enhanced texture detail, and as you can see here, there is a recommended load order if you're using SMIM, enhanced texture detail, and high poly project, which we're going to use next. So you kind of want to follow that just to make sure everything's working as intended. Always read mod descriptions when you can, especially when you're rebuilding your load order, because you might actually find out that you might have had something in the wrong spot, or it may not be what the mod author recommended. And then after that, you're installing like your big textures. So in my case, I tend to put the grass mods above my big texture pack. So like Skyland, for example, is what I'm going to use. So I'll put in Verdant, and then I'll throw in those landscape grass fixes, and then I'll just start downloading the Skyland mods. I like to use the all-in-one versions and then add the add-ons, kind of like the night sky or the LODs after that. And the rest of this section will just be any type of items that may have like a particular texture mod that you wanted to download. For example, I like to use the enhanced blood textures, and then I like to throw on the darker textures with it. So you can do that. You can also add things like mods that modify textures of current objects in the game, therefore like a glacier, a tree, or fire and frost effects, which I classify as effect mods, even though they're kind of texture mods. And I'll usually round this third part out with any type of water mods that I might use, and in this case I use realistic water 2 pretty much all the time. There's a couple different variants on realistic water 2, but I generally just use the base one. So that brings us to our last section. This section is actually the smallest one for me so far because I don't really have a lot of beauty mods. I'm just using the CVBE and a mod for hair. I'll probably be adding to that, but for now, that's what I got. And then I'll add the Skyrim creature overhaul. I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere that the immersive citizens has to be towards the bottom, so this is kind of where you would put a lot of the mods that are required to be on the bottom, like the XP32 and any performance mods. So now that we've built our load order, we need to go back through and actually massage it a little bit. So this is the time that I go back through and realize what I've missed, like control, for example, that we just looked at in the previous video. I missed that, so I needed to add that back in and then move it all the way to the top, because that's generally where I would put something like that. For example, on mine, I actually found a mod that I didn't really need. It's the character overhaul Civil War. Well, I actually have the re-outfitted guards and soldiers, so I don't think I would really need that combined with like the new Legion armors that I also have, so I deleted that one. So if you had an existing save with a lot of these mods already on there, you will probably be greeted with a pop-up like this because I actually forgot some mods. So this is when you kind of go back and add some things. I actually forgot something like the rebalance level list, which I feel like could be an issue if that wasn't reinstalled, so I went ahead and reinstalled that one. So after I installed those mods, I felt pretty comfortable, so I went ahead and closed out of my game and did a hard reset by holding that Xbox button on the console. And after we come back, we'll load up the game, and then we'll want to jump in and make sure everything is working. So, in conclusion, and to wrap everything up, we've just built a load order. Now, this is my particular load order, and those sections aren't like official sections, and I'm sure if we have any mod authors in the channel, I'm sure they will let me know if I have things set up wrong. But hey, if it works, and that's usually what I tell people. There's really no specific way to build it, but there are some things you want to keep in mind. That way you're not crashing all of the time, and so far, so good. Now, on my game, I am playing on the Series X, which actually is a Series X enhanced version of the game. So it's possible that this load order that I just built may not work as well on the older Xboxes because they don't have access to the Series X or S enhanced versions of the game. I don't have a way to test that, but all of these mods are created for the Xbox, so they are going to work on the Xbox. So let me know if you use a template like this and what your experience is. I'll be putting together a load order video featuring a lot of these mods and probably some more, as well as some showcase mods with a spreadsheet, so stay tuned for that if that's something you're interested in. Let me know if this was helpful going through my list. I know I did a Skyrim load order video a while back, and then I did a follow-up of me just kind of going through the list and showing where I had things and why I had it there, and hopefully this will act as a newer template for that video. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions about anything. I know this one's a little bit longer than normal, but I had a lot of information that I wanted to get across and show you my whole process. Thank you so much for watching once again. Have a great rest of your day, everybody, and I'll see you in the next video and or stream.